Hi everyone, welcome to this video where we are going to be talking about the strategy or the steps that we need to take to attempt rhetorical synthesis question type within 30 seconds, right? That's the most important part. We have to attempt this within 30 seconds. Ideally if you've already attempted this question type, you might know that this is an easier level question type compared to the rest of the questions that we have seen till now, right? Here, it's basically, you probably felt that you have to read a lot because there is a lot to read, like the bullet points and the options and everything. But this is comparatively easier. Because this is easier, we have to know how to attempt this question type very easily or in 30 seconds, right? You should be able to attempt this in 30 seconds. And in order to do so, you have to know the trick that I know. So let's go ahead and see the steps that are involved in order to attempt this question type. This involves the trick also that I'm talking about. And trust me, when you know it, it'll be so easy to identify your answer when you attempt this question on your own. So the step one is always going to be the same. You have to know what question type you're dealing with, right? So identify the question type. How can you identify the question type? It's very easy for this type, which we'll see later in the video. Let's go ahead and see all the steps for now. The step 2 is identify the goal. By now we know that the question stem, the first part of the question stem is going to tell us about some goal that we need to achieve. So you have to be very clear about what that goal is so that when you go to the options, that is in the step 3, when you go to the options, you can eliminate all those options that do not meet the goal, right? That's the easiest thing. You are not going to the bullet points to read what information you want to achieve the goal. You are directly going to your options, eliminating those options that don't meet the goal. As simple as that. And step 4 is an optional step, which we will again talk about more in details later in the video, right? Let's take up one question for now. And this is a college board released question. The difficulty level is easy, like it's mentioned above. Let's read this. Now, how do you identify this question type? I don't think it's difficult, right? I mean, you look at the bullet points over here and you know this is rhetorical synthesis question type. There is no other question type on the test which will have bullet points and not a text, continuous text, right? As soon as you see the bullet points, know that you're dealing with rhetorical synthesis. Now that you know that you're dealing with rhetorical synthesis, move to your question stem. The student wants to emphasize the distance covered by the Philadelphia and Lancaster Turnpike. This is where I want you to really read properly and know exactly what is it that the student wants, right? Have a very clear understanding of what the student wants. Simplify it in your own words. Think about what the right option will have to talk about to achieve this goal. What is the goal that we need to achieve here? Now, basically, the student wants to emphasize on something. What is the meaning of the term emphasize? Putting stress upon something, right? Putting extra attention on one particular thing. What is that one particular thing that the student wants to put extra attention towards? The distance. The distance covered by this Philadelphia and Lancaster Turnpike. The distance covered by this, the student wants to emphasize on the distance. So it's kind of obvious that the right option should talk about the distance, right? The right option should definitely talk about the distance covered by Philadelphia and Lancaster Turnpike. Now with this understanding, let's go to our option and let's try to eliminate some of them. A. The 62-mile-long Philadelphia and Lancaster Turnpike connected the Pennsylvania cities of Philadelphia and Lancaster. Anyways, I don't have to read this. I already feel like this is the correct option because of the mention of the distance. Right? Now, what is this distance doing that's been told to me, which means there is an extra attention on the distance. This option is also mentioning the distance covered by the Philadelphia and Lancaster Turnpike. So, seems to be a very perfect option, right? But we still have to go ahead and eliminate B, C, D. We just can't find the right answer over here and move ahead. We have to make sure we eliminate all the other options. Now B, the Philadelphia and Lancaster Turnpike was the first private turnpike in the US. So what? If it was the first private turnpike, it does not really tell me anything about the distance. I don't want to know if that was the first private turnpike or not. The thing that I want to achieve is I want to put more attention on the distance covered by this turnpike, right? So B is out because it's just telling me that this was the first private turnpike, which is irrelevant to the goal. C, the Philadelphia and the Lancaster Turnpike, which connected two Pennsylvania cities, was built. Okay, so it's telling me that it connected two Pennsylvania cities, right? But does that mean that it's talking about the distance? No, right? It's just connecting 2 points, but what is the distance? I still don't know, right? And when was it built? Was built between this? All of this information is just irrelevant. We are talking about the distance covered by this turnpike. I don't want to know about when it was built and what it's connecting. It's more towards the distance that I want to know. Let's go to D. A historic Pennsylvania road, the Philadelphia and Lancaster Turnpike, was completed in 1794. Okay, when was this completed? Again, irrelevant information. I want to know about the distance. The distance has been talked about only in choice A. So that's my correct option. Did you understand how easily I could identify my correct choice without reading all the bulleted points, right? The most important part over here was to understand your goal thoroughly that's been given to you in the question stem, so that you know what is it that you want to achieve very correctly and then start eliminating your choices. Right now, with this understanding, let's go to one more question. Now, this is a medium difficulty level question. Again, this question has been released by College Board. Now, here we are going to take up the last step that we talked about in the first slide. Right, that was basically an optional step. The optional step is all about feeling the need to read the bulleted points, right? If you feel the need to read the bulleted points, that is when the optional step comes into the picture. Now, what are the scenarios when you can feel that you have the need to read the bulleted points? Let's say you read the question stem, you know what your goal is, you were able to eliminate A, B, and you were stuck between C and D, right? Let's say if you're stuck between two choices, you feel that both the options are achieving the goal that's been given to you in the question stem, then probably you'll have to move to the bullet points, because from here you'll have to relate all the information given in the two options, right? What information in C? Is information in C given to me in the notes or not? If it's given, then yes, C is going to be the correct answer. If it's not given, it's going to be eliminated. Why? Because we have to use information from the notes to accomplish the goal, right? So if some information in an option is given outside from the bullet points, that is not going to be a correct choice for sure. So remember one thing, you will go to the bullet points only if you feel like both the options are achieving the goal and you're stuck between them, right? There's one more scenario when you might feel the need to go to the bullet points but not really read everything, just know a few details. Now we'll see the second scenario in this question. Okay, let's read this question. So the first part of the question stem, the student wants to present the study to an audience already familiar with environmental DNA. So here the student wants to present the study. Presenting the study means talking about the most important details of a study, right? Like how it was conducted, right? What is it that we are talking about in the study and everything. So just presenting the basic information of the study, right? It's not about the findings, it's not about the details, it's more about the basic information of the study, right? Now, the student wants to present this study to an audience who's already familiar with environmental DNA, correct? But the most important thing from the question stem that we need to remember is that whichever option that you pick up as the right choice should present the study, and it should also, so whichever option you pick up as your correct option should definitely present the study. And because you're presenting this to an audience who's already familiar with their environmental DNA, the right option should not tell us what environmental DNA does in general, right? So we don't want to introduce environmental DNA to the audience because they're already familiar with it. Remember this, right? So any option that is either not presenting the study or giving a definition about environmental DNA can be eliminated. Now let's go to our option A. Sarah's researchers analyzed eDNA in water samples from the Florida Everglades for evidence of invasive constrictor snakes which are difficult to observe. Now this basically tells me what the researchers analyzed, right, in eDNA in water samples. What did they find there from the Florida Everglades for evidence of invasive? So basically, everything, the basic information about the study is being given to me in choice A. It looks like the study is being presented to us over here, right? But do you see the mention of eDNA over here? If you don't identify this as environmental DNA, that's okay. Always move to your bullet points. This is where partially you might have to take help of your bullet points, right? Now, if you just scan through the bullet points, whatever is written, you'll find that it says environmental DNA or eDNA. So now you know eDNA is basically nothing but environmental DNA. So the option A looks like it's introducing the study or presenting the study, but let's go ahead and try and eliminate the other options. B, an analysis of eDNA can detect the presence. Okay, it's telling me what the analysis of eDNA can do, right? It is about the ability of what can happen when the analysis of eDNA happens, right? But we don't want to talk about the possibilities. We want to talk about the study. We want to present the study that, okay, the study was conducted on X, at Y, etc. Right? That's presenting the study. The presenting the study does not consist of the possibilities, right? So B is definitely out. C, researchers found Burmese pattern eDNA or environmental DNA in water samples. eDNA is the DNA. Now this is giving me the definition of eDNA, right? What eDNA is? It is the DNA in released cellular material such as shed, skin cells. This is wrong because the audience is already familiar with eDNA, right? I don't want to give the definition or an explanation as to what eDNA is. So C is definitely out. Now D, Sarah's researchers analyzed environmental DNA, that is DNA from, okay, now this is again a definition of environmental DNA, right? What eDNA is, that is DNA from blah, 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 blah. I don't want to introduce the eDNA to the audience again because they're already familiar with it, right? So B, C, D can be eliminated and A is clearly your correct choice, which is presenting the study. Now, I hope you've understood the strategy that can help you when you are attempting this question type. Ensure that you attempt these question types in 30 seconds and nothing more than that, right? Thank you.